10 minutes north of Medicine Bow, Hannah turned off the highway and onto a dirt road. After driving over the bars of the cattle guard, she stopped and rolled down the window. Silence. Nothing but her thoughts. The land stretched for all the eye could see. There were no buildings, no trees or bodies of water, nothing green at all for that matter. Just bitter brush, cheat grass, dirt, and an endless string of electric utility poles running across the horizon. It was where someone would live if they were attempting to escape civilization, in hopes of never being found. After 3 miles on the road, she came to a single-story house at the bottom of a valley in the middle of a vast, open countryside. For a long time, Hannah watched the house, and the land and the sky. It was motionless, inert. It could have been a painting. All of a sudden, an ugly feeling came over her. Only 2 people knew where she was going, the current sheriff and the ex-sheriff, and they both knew that she didn't have a firearm, and if they wanted her to stop asking questions about cold cases, this would be the place to do it. Thoughts started running through her head. Why didn't the sheriff arrest her? Why was he so accommodating? Why did she have to drive almost 2 hours to the middle of nowhere when the conversation could have been a phone call? She considered turning around, but she knew she wouldn't get another opportunity to speak to the man who was in charge of the investigation. After 4 long, deep breaths, she focused her eyes and continued along the dirt road. About 100 feet from the house, a dog jumped out from behind a dirt mound, dashed toward her car, and started growling. Startled, Hannah gasped and stopped the car. As the dog approached, it slowed to a walk and went silent. To her best guess, it was an Australian cattle dog or large border collie. She rolled down the window 3 inches, speaking in a soft voice. "Easy, boy. Easy, boy. Everything is okay." They stared at each other, and the dog didn't move or make a sound. After about 20 seconds, Hannah continued on the road, and the dog kept pace with the car until she parked in front of the house. Then it lay down about 5 feet from the driver's side door. The front door of the house opened, and a man appeared in the doorway for a second, then walked to the edge of the patio. He resembled Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now. That worried her. "You must be Hannah. Why don't you come on inside so we can talk?" "What about him?" Hannah said, pointing at the dog. "Oh, little Rex. No need to worry about him. His bark is worse than his bite." Inside the house, it was dim and quiet. A picture frame sat on the desk behind Gary that held a family portrait. Gary, possibly accompanied by his wife and 2 kids, a boy and a girl, in front of a 5th-wheel camper. Looking around, Hannah got the sense that a woman didn't live in the house. Maybe divorced. Maybe dead. They went into the kitchen, and he offered her something to drink, but Hannah declined. He poured himself a glass of tea, then sat down at the table. In the corner was a glass gun cabinet, displaying 6 shotguns like prized trophies. He probably had a story about each gun and how many animals he'd killed with it. "Rick didn't give me a lot of details. He only said you were looking to ask some questions about the Casey Jacobs case." Hannah looked into his eyes, searching for anything there, but they were dead, and she suspected they'd been that way for a long time. "That's right. I'd like to know what you remember, and any possible theories or suspects that might have been left out of the case files, hunches, or anything that couldn't officially be documented." Gary remained still for a long moment, then pulled a can of Copenhagen out of his front pocket and started packing it. "You know, the entire time I was a sheriff, we never had a single female deputy or investigator. Not a one. Hell, I think the only ladies in the entire department were the 911 operators. But I guess times are changing." He jammed a mound of tobacco into his lower gum. "What's the interest in this one?" "She was my sister.